There comes a moment when the world stares at someone like you and finally understands, far too late, that your heart isn't wired like the rest. You were never made to blend in. You carry a strength that baffles logic and shakes assumptions. People don't know whether to study you, fear you, admire you, or pray for your next opponent. You don't move like someone who's merely been hurt and recovered. You move like someone who's been forged through fire, loss, betrayal, and still came out with purpose in your lungs. They whisper about your resilience like it's a rumor, not realizing it's your reality. You've been called reckless or too much, but in truth, your capacity to endure is simply outside their frame of reference. Like Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." That's you, not burned, not broken, just built differently. They thought something was wrong with you. Turns out something divine was being revealed in you. And now that's exactly where you stand. See, your story has reached that strange turning point where even your enemies aren't sure what to do with you anymore. Your strength doesn't make sense to them, and frankly, it shouldn't. You've walked through fire that would have melted most, yet here you are, hydrated, peaceful, unmoved, living proof that grace under pressure is not just possible, it's powerful. You've become a living contradiction, gentle but unbreakable, quiet but commanding. They saw what you survived and assumed it would leave you bitter, broken, or buried. But instead, your soul got sharper. Like Romans 5:3-4 says, "We glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance character, and character hope." That's you. They don't understand how the blows that were meant to destroy you ended up shaping a heart that walks in wisdom, speaks with fire, and loves with precision. You're not just resilient, you're refined. Now they talk about you like folklore, amazed, uneasy, and completely thrown off. They're shook, they're confused. Some are impressed, some are intimidated, and a few are secretly wondering if your DNA includes titanium and holy fire, because the way you move through life defies their expectations. What they don't know is your strength was never random. It was a choice you kept making when no one was watching. You chose faith over fear, depth over drama, and healing over hate. This heart you carry wasn't gifted, it was built. Every time life gave you a shortcut, you took the long road of integrity instead. As Galatians 6:9 reminds us, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That's been your anthem. Your power isn't in your perfection, it's in your persistence. You didn't let bitterness stain you. You didn't let loss define you. You stayed the course with grace. And now the world wants to know what you're made of. So tonight, we're not just scratching the surface. We're going into the deep places where real transformation happens. Let's begin. Now, as you step forward into this divine revelation, I invite you to declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments as a bold sign that you receive this truth and are prepared to walk in your God-given discernment. And stay with me until the very end, chosen one, because we'll close with a powerful prayer to break every chain that tried to bind you in silence. Chosen one, what you are about to hear is not ordinary. Number 1, your heart isn't soft, it's sacred steel wrapped in grace. People mistake your kindness for innocence, but your compassion was not born in comfort. It was carved out in chaos. You didn't get this heart by being pampered. You earned it in rooms where love was scarce, betrayal was common, and loyalty was just a word. The same pain that could have made you bitter made you discerning. The same betrayal that could have shut you down built your boundaries. You don't love blindly, you love boldly. You see people for who they really are and still choose to respond with wisdom, not revenge. Like Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." You learned how to guard without hardening, how to protect without punishing, how to care without crumbling. Your kindness isn't a flaw, it's a filtered strength. People expect you to be naive, but you're surgical with your mercy. They expect you to be weak, but your empathy comes with armor. Romans 12:21 says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And that's exactly what you've done. You didn't let the fire consume you, you let it refine you. That's why your heart doesn't just inspire, it disrupts. It's battle-tested, wise, and impossible to counterfeit. Number 2, you risk your own emotional safety to speak truths that others are too afraid to whisper, not because you're trying to be bold, but because your soul cannot stand the weight of silence. You've learned that truth doesn't need to be loud to be dangerous. It just needs to be real. Most people hide behind niceties, compromise their convictions for convenience, and pretend not to see what's broken just to keep the peace. But you know better. You've tasted what it's like to carry unspoken truth like a burden on your chest. And now your peace demands honesty, even when it costs you connection. Like Ephesians 4:25 says, "Therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body." You've lost friends for telling the truth. You've walked away from comfort to stay in integrity. And every time you did it not to create chaos, but to bring clarity. You don't raise your voice to be heard. You stand in truth so others can't pretend. You don't speak to be liked. You speak because pretending feels like slow spiritual suffocation. You've watched entire rooms get tense the moment you say what everyone else is thinking. Not because you're reckless, but because you refuse to tiptoe around dysfunction. Proverbs 28:1 declares, "The righteous are bold as a lion." And that's exactly what you are, bold, not bitter. People think you enjoy confrontation, but they miss the point. You don't fight for attention, you fight for alignment. You don't speak to expose, you speak to unmask illusion. And the price you pay, it's real. The isolation, the discomfort, the judgment, it comes heavy. But still you speak, still you show up honest, still you take the hit, because you know peace built on pretense always collapses. And that kind of false living, it's a cost your soul refuses to pay. That's not just honesty, that's heart that refuses to lie to itself. Number 3, you feel everything deeply without letting it paralyze your purpose. You're not numb by design, you're alive in full color, and that alone makes you rare. You carry your emotions like sacred instruments, not weapons, not burdens. When you love, it's not half-hearted, it's full force, soul first. When you grieve, you don't pretend. You sit in the ache, honor it, and then rise with a clarity most people never touch. Your depth isn't a liability, it's your language. You see through people, not to expose them, but to understand what shaped them. You catch what's unspoken, feel shifts that haven't even been verbalized, and sense the presence of pain in people who smile the loudest. Like Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And because you've been there, crushed but not destroyed, you've developed the strength to show up for others without letting their storms sink you. Your emotions don't rule you, they refine you. You've walked through anxiety, heartbreak, fear, confusion, and still managed to carry your calling. Still managed to lead, build, speak, give. You've cried in secret and led in public. That's strength. That's what people don't see when they label you too sensitive. Romans 12:15 tells us, "Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn." That's not softness, that's spiritual maturity. You've mastered the balance most run from, feeling deeply while functioning fully. It's why your presence brings comfort and clarity. You remind people of what they've buried in themselves. You've turned your emotional intensity into wisdom, your vulnerability into vision, and your empathy into armor. And even when the world calls it too much, heaven calls it equipped. Feeling deeply hasn't made you fragile. It's made you powerful in ways people only understand when they try to walk in your shoes and can't take 5 steps without sinking. Number 4, you don't run from pain. You meet it at the door, look it in the eye, and demand to know why it showed up. While most people distract themselves, numb their hearts, or hide behind busyness, you choose the harder road. You stay present. You don't just survive pain, you interrogate it until it reveals its purpose. That alone separates you from the crowd. Others dodge their wounds, hoping they'll disappear. But you dive into the fire and come out holding insight. Like Psalm 119 verse 71 says, "It was good for me to be afflicted so that I might learn your decrees." You've stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this awakening in me?" That one shift turned your lowest moments into launching pads. You took heartbreak and turned it into compassion. You turned isolation into self-respect. You faced betrayal, rejection, grief, abandonment, and instead of collapsing, you opened your eyes wider. Every ache became an assignment. Every wound became a word from God. Instead of letting the pain define you, you let it develop you. Romans 8:18 reminds us, "The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed in us." You understand this deeply, not in theory, but through experience. You've walked through your past without pretending. You've wrestled with the dark without letting it change your name. Your strength isn't in your denial, it's in your honesty. That's why you carry weight when you speak. That's why people feel your presence before you say a word. Because you've earned every ounce of your power, not from comfort, but from crawling through the shadows with faith still burning in your chest. You're not bitter, you're wise. You're not cold, you're awake. And that kind of clarity, born from agony, is a level of power most people never reach. Number 5, you choose integrity even when compromise would fast-track your success. In a world that celebrates convenience and rewards the clever over the honest, you stand out like a lighthouse in a storm. You've been in situations where cutting corners would have made life easier, where playing dirty would have gotten you applause, recognition, even comfort. But you refused. Not because it was painless, but because you knew your peace was more valuable than a cheap win. You chose principle when pressure said to fold. You chose the long road when shortcuts surrounded you. Like Proverbs 10:9 says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." You've paid the price for your conviction. Missed opportunities, strained relationships, lonely seasons where your honesty cost you company. Still, you chose to stay true. You've watched people manipulate their way into rooms you were denied, only to realize later that what they gained externally, they lost internally. You don't envy them. You protect your soul, because what good is a crown if you have to sell your character to wear it? Like 1 Peter 3:16 reminds us, keep a clear conscience, so that those who speak maliciously against your good behavior in Christ may be ashamed of their slander. That's how you live. Clean hands, steady heart. Not perfect, but pure in motive. You don't chase validation, you chase virtue. And when the night is quiet and no one is watching, you can sleep without guilt gnawing at your spirit. That's real power, that's rare. Because moral courage doesn't make headlines, but it makes history. Your life is a testimony that righteousness isn't outdated, it's undefeated. And even when the reward isn't instant, your peace is eternal. So yes, the world might call it madness, but heaven calls it conviction. And conviction like that is built only by a heart that refuses to be compromised. Number 6, your strength is terrifying not because it's loud, but because it's lasting. You don't draw power from applause or attention. You draw it from the trenches where you learned how to survive without either. While others perform strength for the crowd, yours reveals itself in the silence, in the moments no one sees, when everything inside you wants to give up and you still choose to rise. You didn't become strong by flexing. You became strong by enduring. You kept going when you had every reason to quit, and that unsettles people who depend on external validation to function. Like 2 Corinthians 4:8-9 says, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." That scripture isn't theory for you, it's your lived experience. Your strength was forged in lonely places, in seasons where you were betrayed, overlooked, and misunderstood. But you didn't break, you didn't bend, you just got quieter and more grounded. You didn't need to prove anything. Your endurance became your testimony. People expected you to be angry, unstable, or bitter. Instead, they found you calm, clear, and focused, and that confuses them. They see someone who has walked through personal earthquakes, heartbreak, humiliation, spiritual warfare, and still shows up with grace. That kind of steadiness isn't normal. That's why they don't know whether to admire it or fear it. Because you've developed a resilience that can't be replicated with words or faked with image. You've learned to walk through chaos with unwavering peace. Like Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." That's your life now, anchored not in circumstance, but in divine stability. You are proof that quiet strength is the loudest kind of power, the kind that doesn't crumble, the kind that doesn't need attention, the kind built from quiet, steady, unshakable resilience that makes your heart not just strong but unbreakable in a way others can't copy or understand. Number 7, you protect people even when they have no idea how to protect you in return. Not because you're naive, but because your strength was never transactional. You're built from a different moral code. The kind that shows up when it's inconvenient, gives when it's unnoticed, and stands in the gap even when it's lonely. Your love isn't performative, it's principled. While others give only when there's something to gain, you give because that's who you are. You've carried people emotionally, spiritually, even silently, not for credit, but from conviction. As Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. And that's what you do, again and again, without asking for anything in return. You've covered those who exposed you, interceded for those who talked behind your back, and defended the dignity of people who would have let yours be destroyed. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Your loyalty doesn't come from desperation, it comes from discernment. You know who they are. You see their blind spots, their fears, their inconsistencies, and still you show up. That doesn't make you foolish, it makes you faithful. People fear your kind of heart because it reveals how limited theirs is. You don't serve for applause, you protect from principle. Proverbs 19:22 says, "What is desired in a person is loyalty, and you embody that quietly, powerfully, without fanfare. You don't protect others because they earned it. You do it because your soul is anchored in a standard that pain couldn't break. And still, you have boundaries. Still, you walk in self-respect. Still, you don't lose yourself trying to save others. That kind of strength wrapped in compassion is almost extinct, and when people experience it, they never forget it. That's the kind of heart people remember, and the kind they'll never be able to replace. Number 8, you don't fear loss because you've already walked through the kind of emptiness that kills ego and resurrects purpose. You've met rock bottom face to face, stared into silence, and learned how to breathe again with no one cheering, no one watching, no one saving you. You've survived the kind of loneliness that doesn't just wound, it redefines you. What used to scare you doesn't anymore because you've already seen the worst and discovered it couldn't destroy you. You learned that survival isn't about holding on to people, it's about holding on to God. Psalm 73:26 says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." That became your truth. You stopped chasing validation when you realized that what's meant for you doesn't need to be begged for. You stopped fearing rejection when you understood that God's redirection is never punishment, it's protection. You learned how to rebuild in silence, how to heal without witnesses, how to find peace without guarantees. You've already stood in the ashes of everything that was supposed to break you. And instead of collapsing, you found clarity. You found identity. You found the version of yourself that doesn't depend on applause to know its worth. Philippians 4:12-13 says, "I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." That's your heartbeat now. You don't chase, you attract peace. You don't cling, you release. Because what's divine will never require desperation. People look at your calm and call it arrogance, but it's not, it's assurance. You've already buried your worst nightmare and came back stronger, wiser, and untouchable in ways they'll never fully understand. Number 9, you forgive without forgetting because you've come to understand the messy, complicated, imperfect anatomy of humanity. You've seen enough to know that people don't always act out of logic or love. They often act out of fear, insecurity, scarcity, and pain. You don't excuse what they did, but you've stopped expecting broken people to behave like whole ones. That's why your forgiveness hits different. It's not denial. It's not forced. It's not some spiritual performance, it's discernment. You forgive because you've matured beyond bitterness. Like Colossians 3:13 says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." You've let go, not because they deserve it, but because your soul deserves peace. And yet, you never pretend it didn't happen. You don't rewrite the past. You carry the lesson, not the poison. You keep your eyes open. You release the weight, but you keep the wisdom. Proverbs 14:8 tells us, "The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways." And that's what you do. You move forward informed, not infected. You're not walking around with vengeance in your chest. You're walking with vision in your spirit. People think your ability to let go means you're weak, but they have no idea how much strength it takes to heal when you never got an apology. To stay soft in a world that tried to harden you. To remain kind in places that nearly killed your character. You don't hold grudges. You hold standards. You don't seek revenge. You seek alignment. You don't shut everyone out. You simply control access. You've become the kind of person who can look at the very people who betrayed you and still wish them peace from a distance. That's power. That's emotional intelligence. That's grace with boundaries, because you refuse to become what tried to break you. You walk away with clarity, boundaries, and dignity intact. That's not softness, that's mastery. Number 10. You love people beyond their masks and call out the truth they've spent their whole lives avoiding. You don't get distracted by image, charm, or performance. You see through. While most settle for appearances, your heart searches for the soul. You notice what others miss. The nervousness behind the smile, the pain behind the pride, the fear behind the control. You're not fooled by polished answers or emotional walls. You feel the real version of people, the unspoken wounds, the buried stories, the silent battles. That alone disorients those who depend on hiding to feel safe. Like Hebrews 4:13 says, "Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him." That kind of sight lives in you. When you love, it's not passive, it's penetrating. You don't just sit with people in their struggle. You invite them out of it. You don't comfort them into stagnation. You challenge them into healing. You speak truth, not to shame, but to awaken. And sometimes that truth is disruptive, but you never confront to condemn. You confront to call forth. Proverbs 27:6 says, "Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses." You'd rather make someone uncomfortable with truth than comfortable with a lie. Your love isn't enabling, it's empowering. It sees potential and demands alignment. That's why people either grow around you or distance themselves. Because when you love someone, you won't let them settle. You mirror back the version of them they're meant to become, not the one they're pretending to be. You don't play along with dysfunction. You don't water down your insight. You stay grounded in discernment, led by compassion, and unafraid to say what needs to be said. Your love is not just healing, it's catalytic. It triggers change, it disturbs comfort zones, it shakes false identities. And that's why your love isn't just felt, it's remembered. Your love is a catalyst, and catalysts always make things shift. Number 11. Your resilience reveals just how fragile some people truly are. Not because you intend to expose them, but because your life is a quiet contrast to what most people consider strength. You don't flinch at storms that send others into panic. What shakes them is what shaped you. You've endured breakdowns that rewrote your identity, grief that drained your hope, and silence that nearly crushed your soul, and you still got up. That kind of endurance doesn't come from books, advice, or pep talks. It comes from surviving what you couldn't escape. Most people don't understand that because they've never been tested past surface-level discomfort. Their battles are rooted in inconvenience, validation, or social image. But yours were spiritual wars. You didn't just feel pain, you wrestled it. You didn't just face rejection, you rebuilt your worth from the ashes of it. And the truth is, your quiet persistence makes people uncomfortable. It confronts them without saying a word. Like James 1:12 says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life." Your survival reminds them of every time they folded when things got hard. You don't walk around flaunting your story, but the way you carry yourself with poise, depth, and peace challenges their excuses. Your strength isn't loud, but it speaks volumes. And no, your journey wasn't glamorous. It was gritty, it was lonely, it was messy. You didn't build this resilience for applause. You built it out of necessity. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9 echoes your life. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, struck down, but not destroyed. That's what people don't see. You didn't become strong because it was trendy. You became strong because life gave you no other choice, and you refused to stay broken. At the end of the day, the truth doesn't need decoration, it just stands. And the truth about you is this: your heart wasn't handed to you through comfort, it was carved in the crucible of survival. Everything people now admire, question, or whisper about, your clarity, your love, your discernment, your strength, it wasn't born in the spotlight, it was built in shadows. You became who you are not through applause, but through endurance. You stood when everything in your life told you to sit down. You gave when you had nothing left. You stayed kind when bitterness would have been easier. And that's why you move differently. Psalm 66:10-12 says, "For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance." That's your testimony. You know what it's like to be refined, not destroyed by fire. You don't need to announce your growths. It speaks for itself in how you carry yourself, how you protect your peace, how you love with boundaries, and how you show up with unshakable presence. Your strength doesn't come from a need to impress. It comes from the battles you survived in silence. That's why people feel something when you enter a room. They're encountering someone who's built from truth, not trends. You make people confront their comfort. You mirror what they've avoided. Your very existence challenges the artificial, and while some are drawn to that, others retreat because they know they can't fake what you've forged. You became this version of yourself in moments no one clapped for. And now your presence carries the weight of someone who's been through hell and came out holy. Whether they respect it or resist it, whether they praise it or misread it, one thing is undeniable: they can't ignore it.